Good morning and welcome to Sunday Story Hour, where we share real-life stories of how human design has helped people to tell a richer, more true story of who they really are. I'm Kathy Wachanko, and my guest today is my friend Angela Perez. And Angela is a 3/5 mental projector, and I met her at a human design immersion in Asheville and learned that she lives not far from where my daughter lives in Florida, so we have become fast friends. And she's my dancing buddy when I go down to St. Petersburg. And I'm really excited for you guys to hear Angela's story because it's just so pure. It's just so like she just blew my mind with her ability to wait and the way I've been able to witness her life just really blossoming as she's been waiting for invitations that really value her has been great. So Angela, if you want to say hi and maybe tell us a little bit about how you found human design, maybe the beginnings of your stories, that would be great. Welcome.
Yeah. Hi, Kathy. Thank you so much for inviting me. This feels like fun. So, yay. So I met human design back in 2018. I had just turned 40 years old. And I met human design at a time where I was getting to a point of where is my life going? You know, that 40 threshold that we go through and we start asking questions. And evidently I was in some wrong relationships and doing some things that didn't make me happy. So I was already searching. So I did a lot of astrological charts and retreats and, just trying to find answers to whatever, that longing we have inside of us is. And then I found human design at the end of the year that I was doing all of this searching. And what I remember about human design was, and I just got an email, actually. I didn't look for it. I just happened to get an email that said human design, and I looked at it, and the moment that I found out that I was a mental projector, everything made sense. I do recall previously, like many years ago, thinking to myself, I just can't make a decision. I cannot make a decision about something that I can't weigh myself this way or that way. Like I always knew that I had difficulties making decisions. I always knew that. And also always being very mentally strong. So I identified that within myself. Of course, the big shocker is that you're told to wait. So apparently you've been doing all your life wrong so far. And so it was a big shock into what does this mean for me? And I did read some, of course, I'm a mental projector, meaning that I don't have a lot of energy that is defined. Is more so there's this great deal of openness, which is going to act like a moth to a flame going into my mind and just picking up things that are not me. And so it took me a little bit of time to have that understanding within my consciousness. And I read a lot about the projectors needing to study to understand themselves and to have that knowledge help us along the way. But for me, it was different because knowing how strong my mind is, just knowing that if I went and dove into the study, I would be always thinking or always having that stuff in the back of my mind. And I didn't want my mind to have the opportunity to drive my experience in my experiment. So I decided not to study from the get-go. And I did. Go ahead.
I'm just, for those watching, can you explain? Because when we hear the term mental projector, a lot of people think, oh, you're defined in the mind, so your mind is your authority. But nobody's mind is their authority, right? We know that in human design. So was there a little bit of confusion with that for you, or did that make sense right away?
No. I needed time, definitely. Just to think about things, and you leave it alone and then you come back to it. But once your consciousness is hit with not supposed to move, then there's always something, or there was always something telling me or making me accountable of, how do I become more observant of this? How do I stop to be able to see those things? And so the mental projector, yes, is not mental authority. I basically have a lot of energy in my mind, which I can use for different things, like intentional or things like that. If I think of something, then I can make it come by or things like that. But not getting. Okay, so let me just say what I said earlier, because I'm so open, or we are so open, regardless of how well we're operating. What we're observing is not us. So to me, that was the biggest understanding of, okay, so if I'm operating based on others people's aura or even the transits, then I'm not going to be worried about what those transits are. I'm just going to know that that's not me. And I'm going to come into myself and soften and stop and trying to see what it is that life is inviting me into, rather than my mind picking from all the open centers, making me think things that are just there, but are not for me to engage with.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my as my teacher has told me, is environmental authority. So it is more so who I am around, the place that I am around. My environment is valid, so I need to be around openness. Everything has to flow. And for me, being in flow is what keeps me grounded. So that has been the whole experiment for me, from just pushing away the mind, or like, okay, you're there and it's all great, but it's just what's happening, not getting attached to it, not getting hooked on it, or holding on to those things. But kind of like getting myself into that flow, which now my life feels like that. And it's more about what are those things that are worth holding on to, and what are those things that I just need to let go of. I think I got sidetracked a little bit, but
that's okay. But when I met you in, what was it, 2021, I think was when I met you. And I remembered just thinking, wow, it's just so cool to watch how you were just so, like, you were waiting, but you were living, and you were like, just like cool, like in this cool place of observation that I just had so much admiration for. And then like I talk to you and you'd be like, this, oh my God, this thing happened. And so let's go back to, I know you've told me about, some of these stories, but let's go back to when you first found human design, and you're having all these things and you're coming to be with us. What were you doing at the time, and what changed? Like, what was the biggest change? I know you talked about your first correct invitation. You said to me, maybe, I don't know how long after finding human design that all happened. So
Sure. So yeah, that was 2018, and I was working. I've been in corporate. I'm still in corporate. I've worked on process improvement type, like jobs or implementations, things like that. And I've been very grateful to have been invited into doing these jobs where I'm kind of free to point out the things that are not working. That's kind of my forte, and just using that guidance, and it's worked perfectly for me. So I was working at a job where I really wasn't that busy. I already had a pretty sweet deal. And it was the year of COVID. It was 2019. And I got correctly invited out of my job. By that, I mean, I got notice. I got some months of notice. I got some severance. And actually, they asked me to figure out how to automate what I was doing. And I was given the budget, and I was given the time, and I sort of did it. So I kind of like worked myself out of that job and walked out. It was a really, really good way for me to leave that company and be in good standings with everybody. Yeah.
A lot of people would have been very resentful of that request. Did you not feel any kind of bitterness? Like, really, you want me to, I understand, but you know what I'm saying? A lot of people would have gotten in their head and said,
yes,
you
of
need
course.
to make my job obsolete. And then you're just going to, and I just think that's so cool that you embraced it, did such an excellent job. And then later in the story, we'll hear how all that worked. So good.
Back to that moment, because I remember, oh, Angela, you're being let go and all of that. And it was like, whoa, right? But I had trust. It felt correct. The circumstances were correct. It was a high paying job. I mean, it was a no brainer for me. And business, nothing is personal. And I'm already at that point where I'm able to come into something or break with something. 3-5 is my profile, so I'm okay with breaking bonds. What I did know really, really in the center of my consciousness was this is the time for me to walk my talk. Everything that I've been saying about, when we're looking for healing, doing the right things for us. And it was the time for me to really wait and learn how to wait and exercise that waiting. So I knew that I was going to take time for myself. I was being handed over the perfect circumstances for me to stop. So I decided I was going to take a year off, and I took a sabbatical. And imagine you being at home a year. I live with my son, so he will go to the school, and all I had to do was take care of myself and take care of him. So I did nothing. I will sleep until I woke up and did yoga or got in the pool or, whatever. But allowing myself to have that time really, really helped my body to stop and to really, really think about, what is waiting mean? How do I continue to be triggered into initiating? Dealing with boredom, what is my end goal? What did I want to do with my life? Just so many things that I was able to just marinate on, right? And so a year went by, and I was having the time of my life, but then I knew that life was coming, right? Because you have to make a living. So I kind of knew that at some point my mortgage that was in forbearance was stopping, right? So I needed to figure out how the heck am I going to continue living? And I remember clearly that 2 months before I needed to go and start working, I needed to start making money, I got a call from a lady that used to be my boss in some previous lifetime. And she had a relationship with a startup company that had to do with the business that I'm in. And anyway, my name was said and this and that. Next thing I know, I get a call from the CEO of this new company saying, we want you, come over, let's talk. I come over to talk. They already have the contract drafted. I'm salary, making a lot of money. Things are sort of unknown because it's a startup company. So there's not a lot of work already for me to do, but more so come in and help us see where we're going. It's been a year and a half since I've been at that job. And Kathy, if I work 2 hours a day, it's too much. That's the job that I'm in right now. I work from home. And hopefully nobody in my job sees it. But if I work 2 hours a day, I work too much that day.
Yeah.
It feels sweet. It's great. It's great. I did go through a great deal of worthiness issues, because when you're used to generating, being productive, needing to fulfill something to feel that you offer value, or that, getting over that was a little bit difficult for me, to be like, you're worth it. Even if you're going to be on a call 1 day a week, you're going to say something that's going to be of value. And it's not of your business to figure out what that is, right? It's just, I'm here. Is the invitation is there. It continues to be correct. And but I do remember, like, through my meetings, I would put a little note in my computer, shut up.
I need to get wallpaper that says that, like, put it in my whole house.
And it's a little thrilling to go through your professional life, really holding yourself to that expectation of, I'm not going to say anything. I am not going to say anything because I have no business saying anything. And I have seen when I have spoken, like at the beginning of the call, sometimes there's a problem and I have spoken with the solution. I'm telling you, this is the solution, right? The paragraph or the phrase or whatever. Nobody hears it.
Right.
Nobody hears it. And it's happened to me a million times. Every time I do it, it happens. So it's like on the job experimentation as well.
Right. So how does it work when it does work? What do you do when they do hear you? You wait until they specifically say, Angela, what do you think?
I wait. Everybody goes. And then I wait until somebody says, Angela, do you have something? Sometimes I really don't have anything this week. Right? Sometimes I do have something to say, but I do absolutely wait to be asked. And that seems to work really, really well.
Yeah.
So that was my second invitation. That was big, that like, whoa, this really happened. Life really is delivering. Like, life has an envelope with my name on it. Here, you're going to be paid for what you have to offer. So that was like, whoa.
Away from this invitation, I just want to clarify, because you've told me enough stories that you are very valued, not just paid, but very valued in your job, and your input is very respected and recognized. So even though you're saying you only work a couple hours a week, it's because that's all you need to do, right? Because they're like, Angela, and then you're like, here, and they're like, okay, great, perfect.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I don't know, I think I heard something about me waiting for other people to catch up. That's what my life is about. And I have to master patience. So it's kind of like, I see everything. How come you don't see it? Are you kidding me? And sometimes it takes 6 months for a project to go on to get to the point that I'm already out there. So it's fun.
Yeah,
it works out. It works out. And okay, so that was the second big invitation, and then I've been single. I had made really bad bonds during my life. I did want to mention that, though, that when I was talking about walking the talk and all of that, going really through the conditioning, because now I had the time to do nothing and just focus on what is life handing me. What am I feeling? I lost my train of thought. Oh, I was talking. I wanted to mention about the bonds and being responsible and accountable for cleaning up what's around you. My house, making it prettier. The friends that I have, the partner that I had, and it took me about a year to get rid of a couple of relationships that I was in, a friendship, and then I had a boyfriend. I was so hooked. And like my girlfriend, she will continue to call me and I'll be like, but I'm her only friend. What is she going to do? Like having all of these mind games telling you, trying to justify, I need to be a good person or this or that. So I was able to, put that aside, have the hard conversations, and really stick to my plan. Or, I'm going to break this bond because it's bad for me, and I'm going to break it and break it and break it. Even though I had tried to break it in the past. But
for those of you who don't know what she's talking about, as a third line, one of the things that's a tenet of that is the idea of bonds made and broken, that the third line learns through experience. So they enter into relationship, and then when something's not working, they pull back and they settle, and then they might come back and say, okay, I understand what didn't work. and maybe they'll re-enter that relationship and maybe they won't. But if the person keeps trying to hold them into that relationship and they can't make that break of the bond in order to really understand it, then you're going to just drive that person away. So with the 3-5 especially, yes, for or 3-5 or 3-6, the personality even more so. It might be a little different in the body of the 1-3, but anyway, go on.
So then what I discovered is that anytime I broke a bond, seriously, this is what I'm doing. Within a week, something happened. Or it was eminent that my life took a shift or felt different because I had let go of that. So it was like if I was being pulled. So there's something about the 3-5 that it says all ends are beginnings.
Yeah.
And that's how it works. So again, I was single for a long time, and January of this year, I was out at a bar. I don't do dating apps or ask anybody to introduce me to anybody or go anywhere. I just happened to be at a bar with my neighbor that happened to invite me out that day. And I met this man. And I'm sitting there, and the moment I see him looking at me, it was just like, when someone is kind of infatuated or looking at something light, or I don't know. It was something. So this person is now someone I am in a relationship with. It has been the most incredible recognition I have felt at that level in my life. It's the first time that I walked into a relationship, and I think it's because it was so correct from the beginning, that I'm being completely myself. I haven't said a lie. I don't have this need to prove something or to this other persona. And this is a manifestor generator, actually. And he's
an emotional manifesting generator.
An emotional manifestor generator. And he is 55 years old. So he's older than me, off the roof. And what is clear to me is that I'm ready for this relationship. It came in correctly. I am continuing to seek that recognition or that invitation as we continue the relationship. And it is still there. The fun thing is that he says things to me like, the day I met you, it was like, I couldn't see anything else. It was like this radiant light, and I couldn't take my eyes off of you. So he says things sometimes that I'm like, yeah, you're reading my aura. And it's really cool for experimentation as well, because sometimes we do have conversations, and sometimes I actually don't say a word. And I don't know if I smile or I laugh or if it's my body language or what, but then the conversation goes on. And then I realize, but I haven't said a word yet. He's picking up whatever it is that's there. So it's been really, really rewarding to live in a relationship that's grounded and conscious and clear. And we talk. Not that it has been really difficult for me to learn about being with somebody that's so emotional. I have not been around someone so emotional in my life. And I am totally open on my solar plexus and my willpower center. So I'm here that's my PhD in this life. I came to master that material plane. And learn about emotions and relationships, and how do we express those emotions and those feelings. That's another big part, I think, that I'm getting to now with this relationship, is making me look at people's feelings, where they come from, why. And seeing this person that is so emotional, when something happens and there's an outburst of emotion, we still talk rationally. And in his mind and in my mind, we know why this is happening. Yet the emotions are totally out of control, right? Like nobody can control. They're out there. So that makes me feel a certain way when those emotions are really strong. So that has been a learning experience for me because, of course, we amplify, but we're not going to amplify exactly what the other person is. There will be a level of distortion.
Right. Good point.
Yes, it's distortion. So it's still not me.
Because your mind makes a story up with
Correct.
what you're amplifying, right?
Correct. So that's been really interesting. And also the fact that I am learning to identify what I'm feeling and what is coming from me. So those are my own emotions. And what I'm finding is that they come from a deeper place. That is really, really me. And it's not a lot, it's not often, but just by being with this person, I'm learning about feelings and emotions and how funny it is that I'm here to learn that in this life. And then this person that is so defining those same areas has been presented to me. So it's like life is showing me what I need to learn or helping me to decondition in some areas that I needed to. So that's been really, really fun too.
Yeah, it's been really cool being your friend through all this and the times where you'll just be reflecting on something and talking to me about it. And this level of awareness that you have that, okay, this part is hard, but I'm excited about what it's teaching me. And that's been really beautiful. And I still remember one time you were considering whether or not to take a human design course, but like you said, you didn't really want to get deep in the minutia so that you were in your brain. So you already had not really done some of the stuff for one course, and you'd gotten a personal invitation from somebody to continue on this journey, and you needed to make a decision. And so you said, so can I just kind of process with you? And you talked about it. And I think I might have asked you 2 questions. And then you went, okay, I'm good. I'm done. And it was so like neat and you were like, I know what to do. And I was just like, wow, that was so cool. Cause it was just you like bouncing it off my energy or something in this way that was so beautiful to really witness it done in such an aware way. I think I've had people do it not knowing what they're doing, or I've tried to coach someone through doing it when they didn't know how to do it. But that was that was really a profound experience for me. You know what I'm talking about, right?
So I called you up and I said, I had done living your design course. I did do that. And then I did the Rave ABCs. And then I was looking into continuing really, really diving into it. And I called you and we had a quick talk, and I was just trying to see, I remember clear that I wanted to figure out if I was feeling left out. if
FOMO, right?
Yeah, it was totally FOMO. And it wasn't a matter of, do I want to study this or not? Because the language is so rich and so wonderful, right? But it was a matter of, is this correct for me right now?
Yeah.
And it wasn't. I just really didn't have the energy. I didn't care. I didn't, whatever is presenting, I just feel like by me really focusing on waiting in my body and learning to wait, right? The body is changing because you don't react like I don't react like I used to. My mind used to be, all the time. Now, not at all. I actually watch the quality of my thoughts changing. Or even I will think and talk. Basically, my thinking process, is out loud, which is I know that that's my authority to soundboard. So maybe I'm just getting like in my mind, just talk it out and see what comes out. So I feel more comfortable with the waiting now. I feel more empowered by it, by having the ability to be present, more present than ever in my life. And by you being present, you have the ability to observe when your mind is jumping. I do remember consciously observing myself having some really bad thoughts sometimes. judging people, just whatever bothers you. And then you're immediately, I do remember when that started happening, I will hear the thought in my head and then I will be like, did I just think that? Like, what was that?
Yeah.
What the heck are you? You
Right.
know? So yeah, I recognize that by way of me pausing myself, even some practices, yoga, breathing, but always just having that consciousness of how can I be softer? How can I stop? It's just worked. It is just work because it doesn't jump at me that much. And it's just a process of letting time go. I don't see how anybody at the beginning of the experiment, especially for a projector, can go radically about the experiment, because you're still going 1,000 miles an hour when they tell you that you need to wait. And then you have to slowly come to a stop. That's the first thing. And then how do you prevent yourself from going through life because you feel like you're missing something or you need to do something, as opposed to, do I really want to do that thing? Or, this person is inviting me. I don't have to pay anything. They want my energy. It's a no-brainer. I'm going to go. At least I'm invited. It's going to be correct to a point because I'm invited. And there's a 50-50 chance I'm going to get what I need out of this exchange, right? Because if you're invited, then it's going to be great or not. And even if it's not, you're going to learn something about it.
Right. Especially as a third line, right? Because you learn more sometimes as a third line from what doesn't work than what does. So wow. It's a win-win for you, right?
It is. It is.
And I want to back up a little bit for anybody who's watching who doesn't understand. Mental projector means you can have any two or three of these three centers defined. So it's the head, the ajna, and the throat are the ones that can be defined. So Angela has the head and the ajna defined, but she doesn't have a defined throat. Someone with a defined throat can have just the ajna defined, or they can have all three defined. And then they would have to have two channels. So Angela has one channel, and it's the 6447.
But it's half conscious, half unconscious.
Yeah. Okay. And I have the 64. So I just have the confusion. So mental projectors are super, super rare. They're rarer than reflectors. Now, they're not a whole type. They're just a subtype, but it's rarer than being a reflector is. And a lot of people who are mental projectors think, oh, I have all this openness. I'm almost like a reflector. But a reflector has a different quality to their aura where they can take in all this energy, but there's like a Teflonness to their aura because there's no definition in it at all. So it doesn't stick. It just reflects back. Whereas a mental projector like Angela still has that ability for all those centers to take things in, absorb it, and amplify it in a way that can really mess you up if you're not aware, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, that's been a tricky part for me because I'm a reflector on the black and I'm a reflector on the red. So I think I'm a reflector. Yeah. And that's the case. Yes. Although my environment...
I want to just clarify because some people might not know what you mean. So if you took either one of her sides separately, the black lines or the red lines, neither one would define anything. You'd have one of each channel gates to make a channel. So, her body feels like this and her personality feels like this. And both of those are feeling like a reflector. So,
yeah. Which I had more the confusion of what the heck is, how do I operate again? And so, which makes me think or say now that, even though we read what we are, or the words are out there describing what we are, it doesn't register right away. You have to marinate on these things and like, how do you embody it? How do you feel it? And, until it does. So what you just explained about the openness and with the reflector, at the end of the day, there's so much there to act upon that is not you. So whether you're a reflector or a projector or a whatever, or if you're a defined person, I haven't really studied a lot of people that are defined. I just focus on me. What I wanted to say, though, is that regardless of the definition that we have or what we don't have, we have other people, we have the environment, we have the neutrino, right? Like today, we're all lit up.
Yeah.
Not us, regardless. Whatever is flowing through our body or cells or whatever, more than likely is not us, right? It's there acting in response to something or bringing a theme of something, but it's not us. And so for me, conceptually, that has been the biggest thing of, I'm not going to worry about what's happening, what's coming through the transit, this person, whatever. I'm going to focus on, am I supposed to be here? Am I supposed to be with this person? Am I supposed to say something? So like more aware of, like, let's say I go to a party. I'm not going to talk to anybody. And if there's a little interaction with anybody, my question is always going to be, do they see me? Do they see me? Do they see me? Do you see me? Do you see me? No. And if nobody sees me, I have no business interacting with anybody. Right. Because only then who I am will be coming out in an interaction. So I hope I'm explaining myself.
Yeah, I want to back up on a couple of points, though. Okay, first of all, somebody had said something about transits, and I think it's fair to say that because you don't really follow the transits, that, but Monica said, did the recent, this is when we were talking about bonds made and broken initially and stuff. Did the recent transits of the nodes inverted give some light of what you are talking about, the 2738 or 2728? And that's, 28 is, I don't know if you have either of those gates. Let me see.
I don't know.
You have the 28 and the 27 already, so defined. But the 27 is your south node on the personality side. And the 28 is you have that defined by both your Uranus gates. So, but still the layering on effect. But I think that, like you said, not focusing on them and just remembering that, yeah, I feel this way, and it doesn't really matter why I feel this way, whether it's someone in my aura or the transits or whatever. I know who I am, and coming back to what is consistent about you. But I will say that your hanging gates, especially, on centers like you have this open G center, and you have the hanging gate 2 is your only gate on that, and it's unconscious. And gate 2 is the most receptive gate in the chart. So I love how your identity right now really has become so entwined with your ability to receive. It just really makes so much beautiful sense with the, how you're doing things. And what is your 2 defined with? That's your design Saturn. I'm sorry, design Jupiter. So that's the blessings of Jupiter, right? So, yeah, so there's little nuances in there, but, I don't want to get too into that because I know that, and I think that's one of the things that's made me so excited about having you on is that you are so, I'm trying to think, the word I'm thinking of is pure in your experiment, because you have all this mental definition that would make it so easy for you to be so in your head, but you have completely resisted that. And you're like, no, I'm just going to feel it and see what happens and reflect on it, and this, Robin Wynn, when I talked to her a couple of weeks ago, she uses the expression, the witnessing observer. And I feel like that's such a great expression. And it really feels like what you've been doing is like, look at this, see what happened here, see how this worked, see how this didn't work. And that's just such a beautiful version of the experiment. And one of the things you mentioned is that, you're the only person so far that I've had on that has not been like training and doing all this deep stuff. And you did take some courses, but they were about your own personal learning, not about teaching it or doing anything with it as a business. But I think that in a lot of ways, you're the most pure everybody's experiment is pure for them. It is what it's supposed to be. But the way that you've been able to just really witness and observe what's happening in your life and then say, look at that. That worked great. Oh, no, I didn't like that. Right. So yeah, I feel really like it's been very educational for me to observe you as well. Although we're so different because here I am a projector and I've got so much definition that I often forget that I'm supposed to wait. Love that you remind me of it. Angela's ready for who has told me you talk a lot, and I'm like, I know, but
I just feel like I mean, human design is a tool, just like of course it's more accurate, and for somebody brainy is fun, right? Because I want to know the unknown. Let's find out. But there's all kinds of other modalities or things that people can do to arrive at that presence, right? The gift of human design is that it tells you who you are and how you act better, how your mechanics work. But the other thing that I've learned to, with this trusting and this surrender, obviously is hard. It doesn't come quick. But at the end of the day, life is not that serious. And so we just hold ourselves to this expectation of, I don't know what, or there's going to be a pot of gold at the end or something like that. No. I mean, it could be boring. Once you're in alignment, you're just kind of waiting and seeing what's going to happen, what life is going to bring to you. And it could be years. So it could get boring, but there's beauty in that state of being settled and like, I'm not supposed to move anywhere in this trajectory in the universe that I'm going as we're flying. I'm not unless I'm supposed to be there. And if I'm supposed to be there, it's because there's a lesson for me to be learned, or there's a gift for me of sweetness. So,
One of the other things that just came in my memory is like when you were talking about the whole experience with your getting this wonderful presentation of a job offer that just kind of came from your network that you were not giving any attention to, right? Like we forget that even if people aren't in our presence, that our aura is still drawing people to us when things are correct. But when you first, that was the thing when COVID had said, okay, you don't have to pay your mortgage right now, right? And then you were getting to where you had to do it. And you were like, I have no job right now. And COVID had happened and all that stuff. And then you had a friend who just invited you to clean some houses with her or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So little things have also come in to help out. But those were not as correct. But you need something.
Right.
Yeah, it's going.
That's my point. Is you needed something in the interim, and you never said, "Oh, this is what I'm going to do from now on." But you also said, "I need money, and this person knows me, invited me, and this feels like it will." And you were doing that when the invitation came in for this job, right? Isn't that what you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But at no moment, I mean, I never really reached out.
Yeah.
People knew that I wasn't working. But I didn't. I would like think about, this person is now with that person in that company, this and that. Like I will kind of put things together. And some of those things that I was trying to put together in my head actually came through. So I don't know if I called it or what happened. But it was something I thought about a lot also because I'm a 3/5, and yet this opportunity came sort of through my network. So is there a resonance to a fourth line that is in my design there somewhere? Where that sits.
Well, your personality moon and your design moon are both in the fourth line. So you're driven by gate 19.4, which 19 is, very sensitive. Okay. and so there's this drive that's in the fourth line, and then the 47.4 is your design moon. So both, and that's what draws people to you. So that's really there. Plus remember I was saying how you have the hanging gate too on your G center, which is the most receptive gate, and that's in line 4. So, and the gate 2 is where the magnetic monopole sits. So when we are making decisions from a place of correctness, when we're really using our strategy and authority, and most of all, recognizing our value, our worth, right? Which has been really coming through, that you always knew, no matter any of this was happening, you never said, poor me. And you never said, I'm just not good enough. This isn't going to, that how you speak about yourself is very important in that whole scenario of recognizing with using your strategy and authority, and you're calibrating that magnetic monopole the whole time by doing those things correctly. And then it draws the right things to you that you're receptive to. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. What you're saying. Yes. Because sometimes I do put things out in the air.
Now, I did notice there's a comment from Lynn who is, we have varying degrees of experience in this group too. So Lynn wants to know, is that specific to type or all types to wait? And Lynn, if you are almost any type is meant to wait. The manifester is here to initiate, but even the manifester needs to initiate when they get the divine inspiration to do so. So if they're just initiating from a place of their mind, that's not correct either. So we all have the need to wait and not initiate from a place of low self-worth, fear, or just monkey mind nonsense or conditioning that everybody says, when we're initiating from this place that says, well, if I don't do this, what will people think? Or if I need to do this so that so-and-so is not angry. All those things are incorrect. So did you have anything you want to add to that?
No, I completely resonates. Yeah.
Okay. So we've got about 10 minutes here before this ends, and I'm really enjoying it. And I just want to remind anybody who's watching, if you want to ask any other questions, put it in the comments. And also, if there's any buddy who watches this in the replay, we will go back later and look at those as well. But if there's any questions anybody has right now, and I will say, my cup here, I have to give credit. Angela bought me this cup one time when we were down in Tampa. So she lives in Tampa and my daughter lives in St. Petersburg, which is just across the bridge from each other. So my daughter's 22, and oftentimes I'll go down there and stay with her, and she will either need me to leave her alone or I will need to leave her alone. And Angela is always my fun partner to get together, and we go out to dinner or dancing or just walk around. And so I really appreciate that. And it's fun to walk around and have a really fun time and still talk a little bit about human design at the same time. So
as projectors, the value of having a projector in our life is invaluable. It's invaluable. Absolutely.
Yes.
Be able to talk with someone about everything else, or just even your perception of how you see things. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I really value our friendship as it's been developing over the years. It's really good. So now let's see. We talked about the third line and the bonds made to broken, but you haven't mentioned anything about how you feel being a fifth line. Having that fifth line, heretic savior. How does that?
Yeah, the projection is there. And it just makes sense by way of just understanding how I have done things through my life. I just go and do things. I just go at it. And then and then I fix it through my career. I am in process improvement. That's what I ended up doing. I actually went to school back in Colombia for fashion design. I'm a fashion designer.
Okay.
So that's another creative part that I would love to explore at some point as well. But the value, or my value, is my ability to see those things that other people don't see. So I can recognize from the beginning of my career it has been something that has allowed me or propelled me, or, and I feel like, and I don't know if I'm wrong or not, but that comes from my 18. I have, I think, 4 or 5 number 18s in my design.
Yeah, gate 18 is hanging off of the spleen, and it's I know you have it. I was looking at that too. So
that means that I walk into a place, and what I'm gonna see is what's wrong, which is great for some things, is really bad when you're in a relationship with an emotional manifestor generator, to be able to pinpoint all the mistakes right away.
But it is your Mercury, so Mercury is what we're here to communicate about. So your personality Mercury is 18.4. So again, that's in network. But remember, obviously, anything for you is going to be projected, and it's not a full channel, so that needs to be asked for.
Correct. So, okay. So I'm sorry, I'm coming back to your initial question about the heretic. So because of that, I feel comfortable in life or my employer or whatever I'm doing. I feel comfortable and supported while I figure the thing out. So I'm going at it knowing that I don't need to get it right at the first time, or that I'm going to fire and then align, or as we go. And with that comes the projection, because it's if anybody can do it, it's going to be her. I have been told that before.
Right. That's the savior aspect. Right.
Yeah. So you have to have the invitation, because if you have a correct invitation, that invitation will allow for your process to move through until there's a solution, or not, because maybe there isn't a solution, and the solution is we can't continue to try to fix this thing. This is not what needs to be happening. It should be this, or at least let's don't continue wasting energy on this, but let's move this other way. So now that I'm saying it out loud, it's like if I'm helping others remove the fear or pass the fear of the whatever issue into what's going to flow. So I will say the heretic, I see it there completely, but I think I feel it's supported by the invitation. If I can't go anywhere and start telling them how to do things without just, I'd be fired right away. Right. Yeah. But yeah, it feels like a little bit of responsibility now. I'm feeling something in my stomach when I think about the projection and for other people to put that responsibility on you. And I think I'm okay, because I'll do whatever I can, the best that I can. And if it doesn't work, then this thing wasn't for me. But it takes a very long time, especially for someone that works in corporate, to get to that point of, this is a job. I'm lending them my brain for 8 hours a day, and better use it, and this is what my brain does. I think that the heretic probably mostly family related. I can see that. Or friends, or I can see that. Just people kind of looking at me for, how do we solve this? Or she's the one that knows everything. My mom tells me that I know everything. And she also says that I don't have a heart. You have no feelings. You don't have a heart, but you know everything. That's when she needs me to help her with her phone.
Have you done her chart?
My mom was an orphan, so I don't have the time. I don't think the dating.
Yes, she's probably emotionally defined. Because we always have that thing that comes between us emotionally defined people and the open emotional people. And my husband is completely open solar plexus. My daughter has just the hanging gate 49. and I have the 3955. So the solar plexus to the root individual channel, the channel of emoting. And I always feel like they're either not emotional at all or they're a mess. And they just think I'm a mess all the time. So, but maybe in the past. So, okay. So we're about out of time. I did want to clarify just because Lynn was asking about waiting, and I wanted to make sure that I finished that with, you keep talking about the invitation because you and I are projectors, and projectors are meant to wait for the invitation. And there are also specific channels that are considered projected energy, and that needs to be invited in that energy, no matter what your design is. You're not meant to offer up that energy without it being asked for. But if you're 70% of the planet are generator types, and so that they are waiting to respond. They're waiting to see what life brings to them, and they respond with their sacral and then their emotional authority. So the last thing I just wanted to add was, I know, even though you have not gotten, you say you have not gotten deep into the learning, you have invested a lot in understanding your human design. And how many readings would you say you have had over these 6 years?
I've had, I would say, about 4 or 5 readings. Yes.
Right. So about 4 or 5 structured readings, not to mention you took the Living Your Design course and all of our, glass of wine readings, right? Where we sit somewhere and talk about.
They're going to tell you different things, especially coming into something so foreign as a mental projector and what is this environmental authority or not authority and all of that. So yeah. At the beginning, I had 3. From the very beginning, I had 3. And so I had different notes to compare and what different people will say about the same gates or overall. But the very first reading that I had was with John Martin. He just passed. And what I do remember specifically was that when I found human design, I knew I needed to go to the right person. So I know I was guided to him somehow. And what I read about him was that he was going to not sugarcoat anything, just, to the point. And that's actually what he delivered in my reading. It wasn't so much about how to wait or these lines or this or that. It's just, what this means for you in your life. And what he told me was that I really didn't have anything to hold on to. So there's nothing in your design that you have energy that is, how do you say it? Not sustainable. There's persistent, that is always there.
Yeah, right.
Nothing. So it was like, ooh, so I really got nothing. My mind has nothing. Like, really? There's no say in my life? What do you mean? I live my life using my mind to do anything. So that was the bigger shocker. So I find it valuable to have different readings and even as you go. I recently, 2 years ago, I think I had one with Lavina. I think I shared that with you. And the amount of knowledge and not only that, but now I'm able to hear those things because I'm already along my experiment. I'm on year 6. So my body has allowed me to get to a point where I can really hear what's being said and applied, and it really resonates with me.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say about the readings. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we are 12:01 my time, so that means we have reached our time limit. But I really, I just want to really thank you for doing this. I know this is a little out of your wheelhouse, but you have so much knowledge that I think sometimes you don't even realize how much this can be helpful for people. So Angela does not do any kind of human design work or anything at this point in time in her life. She is busy with her life at the pool and going out with her fabulous guy who takes her everywhere and just living this awesome life that she has attracted into her aura. And but if people want to reach out, they can Facebook Messenger you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Send a message, and I'm sure she'd be happy to answer any questions. And every week we share stories here about how human design has helped people change their story, and it really is about telling a better story of who you are, who you came here to be, and it's your story. So if you're ready to rewrite your story and really get into where you are meant to be going, and you'd like to work with me, you can reach out to me either through kathybashanko.com and just set up a discovery call, or be happy to speak with you that way. Or you can also message me through Facebook as well, or I'm on Instagram also. But I'm not sure. I put these on YouTube later, so that's why I'm putting all that on there. Obviously, if you're watching this here in the Intuitive Human Design group, you can just contact me here. And thanks again, Angela. And is there anything else that I forgot to put as far as people talking to you?
No. I'm just happy for the recognition. Thank you for the recognition. I really enjoy this. And I'm open if anybody feels like talking a little bit more. Absolutely. And thank you for doing this. This is very helpful. Thank you.
And there's a lot of thank yous from the comments. So, okay. All right. Bye, everybody.